Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Jani, and today we are doing a book haul. Wait, this is my microphone. I'm going to move it out of the way. So I bought a bunch of books from BOOKOUTLET.com, which, in case you don't know, is this website that sells like really cheap books. The way that I understood it is that BOOKOUTLET has a bunch of books that are overstocked by publishers, which allows them to sell it at a lower price. And so I wanted to try to get like the cheapest books possible because I know that they also have like $7 and $8 books, but I was like, my limit is going to be $15, and we're going to see how many books I can buy for $15. But like technically 10 because I know shipping flat rate was $5. So that's what BOOKOUTLET.com is, and I ended up getting 5 books, 2 of which are hardcover, which is unheard of, for $15 with shipping. So it was like $10 without. Yes. Okay, so the first book that I have is The Sound of Life and Everything by Krista van Dolzer, and this was $1.19, and it's a hardcover. So I am the worst at reading book descriptions, so I just like buy books that have really nice covers and like somewhat interesting plot, and that's like my problem, but here's one of them. And so the way that I understood it is that there's this girl, I think she's 12 and lives in California, and her cousin's dead, and like an opportunity presents itself to for her cousin to be brought back to life, and so she does it, but then the boy ends up not being her cousin, and it's this boy that's Japanese or Japanese American, and this is set during World War II in California, or after World War II? During World War II in California, and we know what happened on the West Coast during World War II that has to do with Japan and America. We know what happens, and so, whoa, conflict. I'm pretty sure it's also a kid's book because look at the chapter headers, and not to judge, but like look at the chapter headers, and the author also said that she's a children's author. So maybe this is not my reading level as a 17-year-old senior who's in a literature class. So perhaps it's not my reading level, but maybe it'll take me like 2 hours to read. I don't know. So I'm probably thinking of reading this. Also, the cover is really pretty, so I wanted it so I could display it. So the next book is Three Princes by Ramona Wheeler, and this was 99 cents, like less than $1, like 99 whole cents. So it's like a modern Egyptian empire where there are competing empires and stuff like that. Not a big fan of historical fiction. I'm trying to branch out and challenge myself with the types of books that I've been reading, and this is also adult fiction. I'm very guilty of being a young adult who only reads young adult, mainly young adult contemporary, so I wanted to branch out, and here's Three Princes. I'm actually really excited to read it because I'm trying to read adult books. The next book is another adult book, and this is High as the Horse's Bridles. So my last 2 brain cells could not comprehend that this word is pronounced bridles, not briddles. Bridles! By Scott Cheshire. And I pretty much chose this because I was perusing the adult fiction section, which is, I got this along with Three Princes to be like, adult fiction. Okay, so this boy's 12, and he's like supposed to be some kind of, they call him a prodigy. And so he gives a sermon in front of everyone when he's 12, and then it follows him into the future, and he like has a failed marriage, failed love, and stuff like that, and he hasn't been to church in like a billion years, and then he goes to see his father again, and that's it. Normally I probably wouldn't choose a plot like this, but apparently I can't speak in this clip, but it just mentions Queens in the first sentence, so guess who's from Queens? Me. We don't get a lot of Queens representation because everything in New York City is in Manhattan or Brooklyn. Next book is The Gallery by Marx Fitzgerald. The cover is beautiful, which is why I bought the book, because I was like, this cover is so nice. The plot's kind of mediocre, it doesn't really entice me, but the cover's really pretty, so we're gonna place it here. And I think it's about this. Hi, Titus, what are you doing? There's a dog on my lap. He wants to be on my lap. Okay, so Titus is gonna be on my lap while we film. Sorry if his head pokes out. Basically, the plot, I think, is that this woman was like a millionaire, and she was like the talk of the town and everything, and then she decided to never leave her house again. And there's like a gallery of like things in her house, and there's this little girl who wants to learn about her and reveal the secrets of the house, something like that. Also, I told you before, I have a really bad habit of not reading book descriptions and not understanding book descriptions, but I think that's what it's about. will probably not read this because author is described as a children's author, and I am not a child anymore, despite what I look and the braces. Probably not my reading level. Also, if you look at the font size, it's huge, so probably not my reading level, but I bought it because it was pretty. Maybe my sister will read it, and maybe I'll give it to my nephew in a few years. My dog is scratching himself. Hey! This book was $3.79, which is the second most expensive book that I bought, because I was trying to buy, like, inexpensive books, but I was like, the cover is too pretty to pass up. So the next and final book that I bought is No One Writes the Colonel and Other Stories by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I read one of his books, which is Chronicle of a Death Foretold, for my English class last year, and, like, I liked it. It was kind of interesting, but I wasn't really a big fan of, like, his writing sound. I didn't really like it. It was interesting, like a short read. It was, like, cool, like, ooh, English. But my English teacher this year was, like, raving about that book. He was talking about Chronicle, but he was raving about how, like, when Marquez wrote stuff earlier on in his career, his style was different. And so I was like, maybe I'll enjoy this. And I started it, as you can tell by my annotations. I got through, like, the first, like, 15 pages. Yes, 15 pages. And so I don't really know what it's about because it's, like, a short story collection. But I wanted to also have more, like, classics in my bookshelf and my book collection, so there's that. This was the most expensive book that I bought because I really, really wanted this, so that's why I bought it. Like, I wanted to give him another chance, and so this is what I bought. And it was $5.39, which is still, like, for books, like, $5.39 is very inexpensive. Yeah, so there's that. Almost every book besides No One Writes the Colonel, but every other book was more individually than my complete total. So obviously a pro of Book Outlet is the price. You really can't beat it, because the price, like,
are you sponsored?
No. It's a non-spawn video. This is my first video on this channel, so obviously I can't be sponsored. Okay, Margaret wants to say hi. She's washing her face. So an obvious pro is the price of Book Outlet, and I guess, like, I didn't buy any of, like, their scratch and something. They have, like, a section where, like, books have obvious, like, physical problems or, like, issues, and so they sell it for an even cheaper price. But I didn't buy any of those. But I guess because these books are overstocked, like, some of them have black marks to market. Yeah, this one has, like, a little red dot and, like, those things. So yeah, it's a little price that you gotta pay for it being, like, 69 cents, 59 cents, whatever. Like, come on. It shipped pretty quickly. I ordered it on September 11th, and it came the 18th, so I ordered it September 11th, it came the 18th, took 7 days to ship and come to me. Another pro is that shipping is a flat rate of $5, but if you spend more than $35, shipping is free, which, because books are heavy, the shipping price will obviously, like, get more expensive, like, the more books you buy, because the weight can really easily pop up. We love being literate. However, I have two, like, gripes with this website. My first is that the interface is kind of really, really hard to navigate. Like, it's so hard to navigate when you're searching books. Okay, if you wanted to leave, you could have just told me. You didn't have to, like, jump off of my lap. Okay, and so navigation's a bit hard because, so here's my example. It's going to be really hard to explain, and I'm sorry if this doesn't bother you. I'm just really particular in, like, online window shopping because I do it a lot. If you order something on Amazon, for example, you search up, like, books, okay, and then on the left-hand side, well, your left, on the left-hand side, you can choose things of, like, I want it from these brands, I want it to be rated 4 out of 5 stars, I want it to be these prices, and, like, you can refine your search, and it's really easy to, because this left-hand sidebar will always show on, like, every single page that you click in the search. However, on Book Outlet, that is not the case. Refining search options are in the menu, which I get it. It's an extra click, but it's not clear as to whether or not your previous filters will be saved when you add another filter. And so my second gripe with it is that it really needs to work on its categorizing system. It has a lot of different categories for adult books. Like, it was like, you can do, like, crime, you can do, like, thrillers, you can do fiction, not fiction, historical fiction. Like, it had a lot of those options for adult books, but none for young adult. Like, young adult novels were all just clumped into one. It was young adult fiction and young adult contemporary. Like,
my last 2 brain cells meant nonfiction, not contemporary.
that was it. And so I couldn't refine of whether or not what type of young adult book I was looking for. But the reason I ended up buying 2 children's books was because they were in the young adult category. Like, okay, I get it, if this book is for, like, 11 to 13-year-olds, like, you can consider that young adult. Like, 13 is a teenager, like, young adult. But young adult, I think, should be catered more towards people who are, like, what, like 14 to 18, 14 to 17. Like, that's what you think of. Here's my young adult shelf. I have John Green, I have Sarah Dessen, I have All the Bright Places, I have Lovely Bones. Like, those are young adult books. Okay, that's what you think of when you think young adult, not like a book that's supposed to be for a 12-year-old, like this one. Also, they don't have a classics section, which I really think is a problem because I want to read more classics, and it was hard to find more classic books because there was no classics section. So, that's my issue. That was my little problem. So, would I buy from Book Outlet again? Probably, because the deals are too good to beat. Check out my blog and all of my links. It's in the description box below. So, there's that. So, that's it. Bye.